Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And to those of you who are new, welcome to the Coin Drop podcast. This is beta episode 16, and Tim has officially departed Coin Drop. He no longer. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. He's been gone for almost 4 episodes now. I think this is the 3rd episode in a row. It's been myself and Mike joining me once again. Tim, I know you're a busy man. I love you. I couldn't help myself. It was too good. So you're welcome for the minor heart attack I may have given you.
I'll be Tim for now.
Yes, you will be Tim for now. So, Mike, it's been a week. How have you been? What have you been up to?
I've actually had a pretty uneventful week. Yeah, my work's Facebook is still all kinds of fucked up, so just been here.
Been here.
Yeah.
I have been not enjoying the almost 100-degree weather we've had all week long.
I bet.
Yeah, it's been awful. But my
Washington's been fun.
My work's been great. My boss is awesome. I really like him. He's the first boss I've ever had who literally, I had 3 jobs on Friday. He literally messaged me at 2 and he's like, hey, if you and the guy you're training, Chris, want to call off the next job because it's too fucking hot, that's fine. I need you for the long haul. And I was like, man, you have no idea how much I appreciate that. So that was really cool. Yeah. We got it done really anyways. Good. We got it done anyways. But it was just really cool to know that the boss kind of had our back in that aspect, you know? So I hope everybody gets to at some point work for a manager, a boss that treats them like that, because it does make you feel good. It makes you feel like you're valued.
Refreshing.
So,
yeah.
Yep. Well, enough about nonsense work and the crap of being an adult. Let's talk video games, man. So we got a couple of good topics for you guys today. First one, for those of you watching on YouTube, Twitch, if you are not watching us, you can find us at youtube.com/CoinDropVods. These videos are posted there every Wednesday when our audio goes live. So it's on there. Please subscribe, follow us, tell your friends, all that kind of stuff. You can also watch us live Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard, where we record these on Twitch at twitch.tv/CoinDropVets. And you can join us there and chat. You know, just talk it up while we're chatting and watch what we do live. Today, however, we're talking about a game that I personally just completely skipped. It just flew under my radar, which is kind of wild because it looked like a game I'd be interested in. Called Gray Skies, a War of the Worlds story. And it's a game that released in 2020. Yes, 2020. To apparently universally negative reception.
No wonder you skipped it.
Yeah, well, dude, it wasn't even that. It just like completely flew under my radar. I didn't even know it was a thing. I think and the wild thing is if I'm not mistaken, this was at a Sony press conference. So I don't know how I missed this one. But from the trailer, from the video that you can see on our Twitch and on our YouTube, it really does kind of look like a running simulator. So basing it off of what I'm seeing here, I can see probably why it was negatively reviewed.
You mean running sim like Mirror's Edge, or running sim more like if you're playing Death Stranding and just sprinting all the time?
More like the way DayZ was run across the map so somebody could shoot you with a sniper rifle.
Yes,
it's much like that, except for without the PvP aspect, and you're just apparently running from everything. It's that 4-minute scene from the movie, but instead of being God, what's his name? Fuck, the actor in that. What's his name? Totally blanking on his. Tom Cruise. Instead of being Tom Cruise, you're Tamira Cruz. I don't know. It's a female character, so you know, like. It's literally just that scene, the whole game. And it looks like she has some tools that you can use, but overall the interaction looks not great. So anyways, the reason we're talking about this is the dev somehow didn't realize his game was shit.
Oh, I remember now. This was the thing I sent where the guy for like 2 years had no fucking clue.
Yeah, so Mike actually found this one. He's completely spaced that he found this. But yeah, it's the guy had no idea he released a bad game. I don't know where this man went, but
he's probably like, cool, I got 2 banks worth of money, so I'm just gonna fuck off, I guess. And I'm in the same boat as you. I like never played the game.
Yeah.
I came across the headline and I was like, there's no fucking way that this is actually a thing. And I looked at it and I read the whole thing and I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my God. Like, how do you spend all this time and probably multitudes amount of money developing a game or even just like creating anything and then just not follow it after? Like,
to give him some slack with the recent internet explosion about the Diablo 1.1.0 update for season 1 and how incredibly childish everyone on the internet is being about that. I totally understand releasing a video game and then just walking the fuck away, because God, I feel bad for any devs at this point, man. I got to be honest, it's one of those jobs where I'm like, I don't know why anybody still does it. I don't know why anybody is still a developer, because all you get is hate from everyone everywhere, and that just sounds miserable.
Yeah, when I graduated high school, kind of digressing a little bit, but when I graduated high school, I had applied to a few different colleges at the time, and one of them was, I think they were placed like 6th or 7th in like the leading colleges for game development in the country. The US, for those of you who are listening, not from the US. And I ended up not going because that was around the time my grandfather had gotten sick. So I they accepted me and I respectfully declined their acceptance letter. But now, like, for a little while after I moved out here, I've been thinking about like reapplying. But now, like, seeing the way like everybody just gets shit on, even if they make like a viably good product, and there's just like this one little fucking thing and this like entire dome of amazingness, you're gonna get shit on. It's so stupid.
It's gotten real bad. It really has. One of the worst things I've seen with Diablo 4, again, digressing a little bit, we'll get back to the topic at hand in just a second. One of the worst things I've seen with the patch notes for Diablo 4 is
that English?
It's Simlish. It's Simlish. One of the worst things I've seen with the patch notes for Diablo 4 that people have just gripped onto with a fervor is the devs fixed a glitch that was causing a skill to do way more damage than it should, and people are calling that a nerf. I'm like, that's not a nerf. That's the skill not working it's the way it's supposed to, and fixing the game so it works the way it's supposed to. Like, I get people being like, oh, well, that's how we've used it. And it's like, okay, well, that's called an exploit.
Now I gotta work harder.
Yeah. Well, they've made the game harder. I'm sorry. I was under the impression that hard games were fun. Regardless, that's been one of the main outcries is like, well, they fixed this and nerfed the barbarian. And I'm like, well, no, they just made the skill work as intended. You've just been using an exploit. Like, that's all they did. Anyways, that's besides the point.
I have another besides the point story. We're going.
We're just off the rail completely. Fuck the rail.
Just filling in the time gap, I guess.
Yep.
I remember. I don't know if it was present in Civ 6, but I remember in Civ 5, Civilization 5. What the fuck is that guy's name? Can't remember him now. The guy who's supposed to be like super all about peace, like no war, no fighting, no argument. This is a great story.
Yeah, is this important to the story? This particular individual? Well, that sucks. We're gonna move on
to the story.
When you can remember it, we'll circle back around and we'll just derail again.
I'll roll through it. So the guy is supposed to be completely neutral. Like in the game, they rate severity of like possible aggression and retaliation on a number of 0 to 100.
Okay.
Dude has a number of 0. He's not supposed to be aggressive or anything like that. He's basically Jesus, more or less. The game had a glitch where there's a certain point in the game when you start, getting to tech and like nuclear warfare and things like that. When you unlock nuclear warfare, his AI glitches out and goes, because there's no -1 in like that scale.
Okay.
So what it does is it just goes backwards, and then just sets like 100. So it's Gandhi.
Jesus Christ, man. You couldn't remember Gandhi's name?
Gandhi. Gandhi's AI glitches because there is no -1 on that scale. So it just rotates from 0 to 100, and he becomes the most violent motherfucker in the whole game.
Is that okay? So that's where all those memes come from. Okay, because I've got some friends that play Civ, and they talk about how incredibly like Holocaust like Hitler level Gandhi is.
Gandhi
and I'm like,
goes
what are you?
fucking insane.
Yeah.
One of my buddies is like a super like hardcore Civ player. It's all he does when he's not working. He doesn't play anything else. He just plays Civ. He's probably talked about how he's gone through 10 games in like one sitting because Gandhi keeps nuking the fucking planet.
Jesus Christ.
Like it's so bad. But that got patched in Civ 5. I think it's a reoccurring bug that they've had to patch a couple times. But I remember every time it's patched, people flip the fuck out because it's like one of the most entertaining things about Civ. And then they patch it and then they're like, oh.
So yeah. Yeah. Ultimately, that's a funny glitch, and it would have been great if they would have kept it in there, but you know, whatever. No. But yeah, so anyways, getting back on the trail now that we have completely left the state. The Gray Skies dev has come back and he's like, oh, I didn't realize my game was shit. I'm going to give everybody a free remaster. And I'm just kind of like, hold on, your game is shit. So rather than like make an expansion or a 2.0 or something where like you add a bunch of content, you're just gonna remaster it and it's still gonna be shit?
So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt on this and say that one, the remaster itself is free. So if you already own the game, you just get the updated version, no extra charge.
Uh-huh.
But that we're in a place now where devs are starting to call quote unquote reboots. I'm doing air quotes, audio listeners, remasters, where they add a bunch of mechanics. So, for instance, The Last of Us Part 1, when it got remastered.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
For the PS5, they called it a remaster, even though they added a bunch of new mechanics that they kind of ported over from The Last of Us Part 2. I was hoping that they were going to add a mechanic so Joel can go prone like she can in the Part 2, but he can't. Digressing again.
He's got old knees, man.
But yeah. So since we're at a point where they're saying remaster this, remaster that, I would somewhat expect them to, even if they don't add new mechanics, to kind of rework the existing ones to make it more appealing to like a broader audience. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, I never played it, so now I'm gonna have to like go and like play it. And compare.
Yeah. So I was reading this article a little bit more for those of you following along. This is on gamesradar.com. They're talking about it. The developer put out a quote and he said that after a couple of years, this direct quote, after a couple of years of crippling personal issues that kept me away from development, I came back to find that Gray Skies has issues and has been reviewed extremely poorly. I was unaware of just how bad it was until recently. So feel bad for this guy a little bit. I don't know what happened in his life, but crippling personal issues is that's a hell of a thing to say.
Yeah.
That's not like, yeah, I just dropped this and bailed. This man had some shit happen in his life, so feels bad. Glad to know he's hopefully doing better. If he's coming back to the scene, maybe he's kind of got the kinks worked out, bounced back, whatever the case may be.
I'm wondering now if, because he's talking about it being he's the sole owner of it. So I'm wondering if he was a one-man.
It seems that way. Seed House. Let me. I have their page pulled up on Steam. It's Steel Arts Software. Why does that say Seed House? Seed House must be like his handle, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. This is the only thing they've made. I assume it's a very small team. Let's look up Steel Arts Software and pull up their website. Steel Arts Software. They were founded in 2017, so 3 years prior to the release. This is the only game they've made. Single player gamers. The story of Steel Arts Software starts in 2015 when our founder and lead designer got fed up of working in a bakery. Interesting. and
it's
started
as
making
reason as any.
Yeah, I mean, just what a transition. Very good for him. And started making games. What started out as a spotlight attached to a camera moving through a gray box eventually blossomed into Welcome to Hanwell, a first-person narrative single-player horror game, which would go on to release on PC. Why doesn't that show up on their Steam page? Was it a different? Oh, okay. I don't know what Welcome to Hanwell is. I've never heard of that game.
Probably an itch.io thing.
It must be.
Yeah.
Really, well, no, because it says it releases on PC, Xbox, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. So, anyway, yeah, really new company. Sounds like it's one or two people.
Okay.
They've got they've got a new game coming, but they say posts are coming soon. So they've got a game called Darker Skies listed. I guess this game's already out, but it doesn't list it in their development. Weird. Their website needs a little bit of love. Some organization. They've got 3 games. First game looks like it was Welcome to Hanwell in 2019. Second game was Gray Skies. So here's the really interesting. Third game, Darker Skies, released on 2021. So he walked away from the other game, but then continued to development, and then said he walked away from development?
I don't know what kind of Common Core math we did here, but something don't add up.
Right. That's yeah.
Something's a little fucky with this.
Gray Skies, supposedly the game released 2 years ago. He supposedly walked away from development at that time. Maybe he stepped away and the rest of the team, however many people that is, worked on Darker Skies. I don't
Maybe.
Anyways, yeah. So it looks like Darker Skies is a sequel, from what I can tell here. Says our latest title, Darker Skies survival horror set after the War of the Worlds. The war is over, but the effects linger. Take control of Jack, a survivor of the War of the Worlds, trying to rebuild a working heat ray to blow his way to freedom and light the sparks that will rebuild civilization. I kind of want to look this one up. I'm curious as to what the reception was on Darker Skies. Let's see. No reviews. What? You guys need to fix this. This says it's not planned to release until 2023. But their website says August 2021.
So here's kind of what I'm thinking then, because if he says he walked away after Gray Skies came out.
Mm-hmm.
So if the website was controlled by him as well, and the website was left as it was, and it happened to say Darker Skies in 2021,
maybe that's
and he just came back and hasn't updated the website.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Okay. All right. So Darker Skies, apparently remastered for PC is the name, but I don't know that the game ever came out on consoles as it says here that it was going to. Who knows? Whatever the situation is coming out in 2023. So maybe this released on consoles because it says coming to PS5. Whatever. Man's back. He's making.
I routinely browse the PlayStation Store out of boredom, and I've never seen anything called Darker Skies.
Man is making games again. He's going to release a free remaster for Gray Skies. I kind of want to pick it up just to see how bad it is. It's not crazy expensive. It's $15. And from the reviews, you can finish it in about 3 to 4 hours. So it looks like a run. Yeah.
If it's this negative, you could probably get it for like $5 on CD keys or something.
Definitely. So that is Gray Skies and apparently Dark Skies as well. In addition to those, there's a new survival horror game coming that I'll admit I may have jumped the gun adding it into this because the more research I did after I started to get the content for it, I'm like, this game looks dumb as hell, but we're talking about it. It's called Fear Underground. I'm not going to trash a developer. It's obviously an indie game. It's developer is Genix, published by Pimp Game Studio. Hell of a name. It's called Fear Underground, and it makes no sense. You play as what appears to be a medieval knight literally just crawling through an underground tunnel, and it's Lovecraftian horror narration. But you just crawl through a tunnel the whole time. So I'm not so. I mean, it's there's a demo on Steam. You can play it. It does not look like it makes any kind of coherent sense. We've got a little bit of the footage here for those who are joining us on YouTube and Twitch. It sounded a lot better when I was looking at the article, to be honest. This guy sold this in his article. I don't know who wrote this article. Let's see. Ed Smith. Wow, what a generic name. Ed Smith on PC Games sold the hell out of this to me. Said Dark Souls meets Splunky in ultra claustrophobic new horror game. And I was like, oh, I'm in. And the more I looked into it, the more I'm like, wait, hold on. You're a knight in armor underground crawling through a tunnel, and there's like alien sci-fi like tech. There's traps that have die written on them in blood. Like, what the fuck am I even looking at, dude? It is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, and it makes no sense in my brain at all. But I guess it's kind of Lovecraftian horror, right? Like, it's all the face of madness, and to gaze upon it is to invite insanity and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. Its demo is free on Steam. If you're interested, check it out, I guess? Question mark? Yeah. For those, again, listeners at home, Mike shoved his shoulders into his ears once more for the second time in 2 weeks.
Yep. I can't say that it sounds interesting from watching the clip briefly and you explaining it. It looks like shovelware.
A little bit. I was expecting something a bit better, and it's not. So, moving on. We're going to talk about Stampede Racing Royale. So this game actually looks really cool. I don't know when this was announced. It came across from Tim, actually. Tim gave us this one. It's the first Battle Royale game he said he's actually interested in. So that's cool. It's basically Mario Kart meets Fall Guys meets Battle Royale. 60 players race on a track. You race and try and not get knocked out. It looks chaotic as hell. Very color pop, very cartoony. It basically looks like Battle Royale Mario Kart, and that's not a bad thing if you ask me.
No, not at all.
I mean, I love Fall Guys, so in a racing situation, sounds great.
Yeah. The first time I saw any information about this game, I think, was an old Game Ranks video. You know, when they do those like upcoming games of like 2023 or whatever. Even they compared it to just like Battle Royale Mario Kart. Like, it looks really fun. But the other thing is, like, as someone who actually enjoys Mario Kart, like every Mario Kart game that's come out, whether I've emulated it or actually played it on the console it's made for, I try to 100% it, like, as quickly as I can, because growing up, my stepdad and I would play Mario Kart all the time, and he was always the first one to 100% it. So I have this thing where I need to play it. But having a Mario Kart style game on PC just sounds like a dream come true.
Hell yeah. I'm for it.
Like, for sure.
Hell yeah. It is on Steam. And playtest is on the 27th, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be the day after you're listening to this. If you're listening to it on release on Wednesday, if you're one of our patrons, then you're listening to it on Tuesday. Steam playtest is on the 27th. You can sign up now. I literally just pulled up the store page and did it. So hopefully I get into that, can play it, and let y'all know what I think if it's not under NDA. But like Mike said, like, Mario Kart's fun. I suck at Mario Kart, so I'll probably do dog shit at this. But looks fun. It's okay to suck at games and still enjoy them. So
we'll see what happens.
Yep.
It's not really a whole lot to say about that because we don't really know a whole lot about it yet.
There's not a ton. Looking at their store page, we've got Racing Royale, Stampede, Racing Royale. 60 players against one another across 3-round elimination events, so kind of like Fall Guys, culminating in a high-stakes final to crown the winner. including racing rounds include stampede races, which offer classic karting action and outrageous inventive. Okay, I'm apparently
Those are
striking out
words.
here. Yep, they are outrageously inventive circuits. Jesus, I'm done. We're just gonna stop.
Podcast is over. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks. Bye. Good night. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Anyways, basic racing.
Yeah.
With other stuff, there's power-ups, unlocks, things like that. Collect and customize. Keep racing to unlock new vehicles and endless customization options. Find your favorite car and make it your own with custom paints and stickers. Dress your character in the finest threads. So, I mean, we could potentially see microtransactions in this in the future for cosmetics, which, if the game's free to play, totally fine with that. Totally fine with that.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not another Exo Primal situation. You want a really fancy game with an Iron Man suit? You could pay $70 and then keep paying us money to get other colors and pay to win shit.
That's how you don't implement microtransactions.
Yeah.
Live 24/7, weird thing to say about an online battle royale game, but I guess when you've got nothing else to say, there's always something to be a part of in the world of stampedes, seasons, events, challenges, and much more. I mean, the ways you can race are consistently changing with new rewards always up for grabs. It's an online
like a typical
game.
like season cycling thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a live service is what it sounds like, which is pretty common nowadays. Unfortunately, entirely too common because now every single game is competing for all of your time all the time. So it's not really
I mean,
great.
I understand it for games like Battle Royale, anything, or like multiplayer shooters or racing like Mario Kart or anything like that. But then you also have like single player games. I'm air quoting, audio listeners, single player games that are just connected all the time for no fucking reason.
Yeah. There's too many games that are doing it.
But we have a cosmetic store that recycles every 24 hours. And it's like, so fucking what? Like, okay.
Yeah, who cares? Who fucking cares? It's becoming too common of a thing. I can't go play Halo Infinite without getting sucked into like, oh fuck, season pass, I gotta fucking do all that. I can't go play PUBG and be like, oh fuck, now I'm sucked into this. Can't go play Blood Hunt, they've stopped developing for, thank God, so they'll just recycle what they have and I don't have to feel obligated to play it. I can just enjoy the game, which will be great. Disappointing, but great. So, and then you got Division. I mean, there's so many games out there that are pushing seasonal content. It makes it difficult to play anything because you're always missing something, I guess. So
yeah,
that's about all we got for Stampede. Looks cool. Maybe I'll see you on there. If not, we'll talk about it when we can, if we can. Hopefully one of us gets into it. Let's move on then to Helldivers 2, our final topic for the night on the free side here. Our Patreons will, of course, get a exclusive topic over there, which we will not be discussing here. Spoiler alert, we haven't decided what it is.
Can I butt in real quick with the Project Q thing, since that'll probably be quick.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do Project Q. Let's jump in with that.
So for any listeners or viewers right now that aren't aware of what Project Q is, it's Sony's PlayStation handheld thing that's not actually standalone. You have to have a PS5. So fucking stupid. It's supposed to be like a $200 fancy screen, essentially, that has a DualSense controller on the sides of it. But there's a rumor, or I guess a leak, going around that I looked at some of the screenshots and it looks like it's, I think, coming out of Japan. I don't know the like language characters in the alphabet between China and Japan, so I could be fucking this one up. But Sony's based in Japan, so I'm going with Japan. Apparently, Project Q is based on Android, so it is an actual like standalone device in the sense of it has storage, it has a processor, probably has RAM, because it's running Android, right? And Android isn't necessarily a light thing to run anymore. You need to have like some decentish spec'd device to run it, unless you're gonna fucking put Android 4 on it, which would be a huge security risk, and Sony would have no interest in doing that. My camera totally just froze.
You're fine. I'm pulling up the queue, so it's on the screen so people can see it for those who watch this later. So just kind of slid that in over.
yeah. So if this thing actually comes out and it is running Android, I would actually be surprised if it was hard to homebrew it, because Android, even the most recent versions of it, it's very easy to just load the thing into like the recovery system, sideload some random fucking launcher onto it, and then have it default to that launcher. So whatever proprietary thing that Sony has installed on it doesn't even boot. And that's just the really simple way of kind of explaining that. I'm sure it's a lot more complicated than just doing some quick commands on your computer. But that also opens up so many possibilities. Like you could open up the access to things like Parsec, so you can stream games from your PC to it. You can stream Xbox Cloud or whatever, if it's called xCloud or whatever they have now.
Fuck if I know.
You could put the GeForce Now app on it probably and stream all of the stuff you have on your Steam account over NVIDIA's server network. There's so many possibilities of things to do with this thing.
If it's running on Android.
Yeah, if it's actually going to be running on Android. But aside from that, we have no idea what processor and storage and RAM it has in it. So it literally could be like, it could be running Android, but then it could be like some Xenos chip from like 4 generations ago, which Samsung abandoned the Xenos chip for their recent phones because they were just awful chips. It could also have like a gig of RAM and then 8 gigs of storage.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to be paired with a console that has all the shit that it needs already.
Right.
So we'll just have to see what they spit out.
I would imagine at the very least it's got to have a pretty decent network card.
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking if it is low spec, it would be something within like the last 5 or so years. Because it would need a decent network card, but then it would also need a newer CPU in it, so it could encode and decode the video and inputs and stuff that it's getting and sending out. So we'll see if it is running on Android and it's actually spec decently. I may consider it. I sure as shit wouldn't pay $200 for it, but if I find it used for like $80 somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what they do with it. I currently stream with moderate success to my NVIDIA Shield that I bought from my using Steam Link to moderate success. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm still having latency issues and frame rate drops. I don't understand why, but I'd be curious to see how well this handles something like that. It'd be nice to be able to do seamless gaming. So when we find out the specs, maybe we can decide from there. I mean, it's got to tell you the OS somewhere, right? You know, it's either running Android or it's not. So
the only two possibilities I can see, if it's not the only other possibility, I should say, if it's not running Android, is that it's built on a super basic build of Linux, which again is if you're any type of tech literate, is extremely easy to build on top of for yourself. There's YouTube tutorials you can watch. There's probably fucking WikiHow articles that you can find.
No joke. Yeah, I mean, Linux is open source by nature. So yeah, I can't imagine them running any version of Windows since it's their main fucking competitor. So what's their option there? Linux or Android, right? Like they're not running Apple. There's no chance they're running Apple.
Pretty much.
So it one way or another, in theory, this should be a crackable device that should be crackable fairly easily. So
here's the famous words of GeoHot: if it was made by a human, it can be hacked by a human.
There you go. All right.
I think
are we done with the queue?
Yeah. It's just
okay.
When it comes out.
Yeah. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. We'll see. We'll talk about it again once we have specs. So let me remove. Can I delete you? Delete.
Why would you want to delete my face?
Not you. There it is. That go away. There we go. Hey, look, it's Helldivers. So we're talking about Helldivers. Helldivers 2. For those of you who don't know, this hurt me a little bit. I'm going to be honest. Mike and I were discussing this briefly before the podcast. And I don't know if you guys are aware. Helldivers 1 came out almost 10 years ago. Ooh. Let that sink in for a minute. Helldivers 1 came out almost 10 years ago. I know for some of you, you're like, yeah, whatever. I don't even know what the fuck the first game is. I played the first game. I played it. Didn't feel like 10 years ago now, man. Doesn't feel like it's been 10 years. 10 years is the distance between Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. All right? Like, doesn't feel like it's been 10 years, okay? I don't like this getting older shit. I don't like it. I don't like it. Any rate. Mike, you probably missed Helldivers because it's an isometric shooter. It's a twin-stick game. I know you're not particularly fond of that view. The new one, however, is a third-person over-the-shoulder shooter. Still has the same kind of humor. Still has the same just massive hordes of monsters that you're fighting. And it looks great. And their newest trailer that they put out talks about the best, worst thing in a co-op shooter. Friendly fire. You can straight up just eradicate your buddy in just the best ways possible. Miscalling in an airstrike.
Gonna play a game of fuck around, find out.
Yeah. Drop in a bad location. You can actually drop on top of one of your friends when you're dropping in and straight up squish them and kill them. There's a part in this video, it's the best part. It makes me laugh every time I see it. There's a guy drops in and his buddy is engaging bugs to his right, and the guy pops up and this dude's bullet just takes his head off and he dies the second he spawns it. It's so fucking funny. It's amazing.
Oh my god.
Obviously, this could easily lead to nasty ass griefing in the game, but I think they balance it pretty well by, like, your buddy kills you, you just drop your pod right on top of him and squish him like a bug. So, you know, turnabout's fair game, but it looks great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't get to a point where it's like in Rainbow Six Siege, they added that as like a game mechanic, but then it became such like a toxic part of the game that they started kicking and banning people for it. And I think PUBG does it now too, where if you kill your team member, or if we, play quads and we team with two people and we kill those two people because, like, whatever,
sure,
it'll kick us.
Yeah. And I think in a competitive game, that's definitely a bad choice. This is a cooperative game, so it's not like it's all in good fun. It doesn't take itself too serious. So it's like accidents happen on the battlefield, bro. If you're way up there engaging and I'm like, nah, fuck that, airstrike, you better get your ass out of there. I'm not going up there. You're fucking stupid. That is a choke point.
No quarters given. Move your ass or get fucked.
Hey, buddy, run. Why? Eat? Yeah, here it is. He just drops right on top of him. And this is the one he gets shot. His head just comes right off. I fucking love it. He takes a half a step out and his head just pops right off. It's so good. Yeah,
it's great. So we're playing this.
Oh, hell yeah.
When it comes out.
Oh, yes. Hell yes, dude. I'm so stoked for this game. It looks fantastic. I want to get the Space Marine game too. The Starship Troopers, they made that, but that's like 16 player co-op, and this is squad of 4 or whatever, so it's way more manageable. But yeah, Helldivers 2 looks great. If you don't have a PS5 or a PC that can run it, maybe consider it, because Helldivers 2 looks awesome if it's your type of game. Comes out sometime this year, 2023. I'm assuming probably fall, maybe winter. Crossplay, as far as I can see, has not been confirmed, but it's been rumored and heavily hinted at.
I don't see why it wouldn't be at this point, unless it's like, Sony's being a dick.
Yeah.
Like usual.
Well, one of them has to be. It's either Sony or Microsoft, right? Like one of them's going to be the asshole about it. But it looks great, and honestly, if it's not crossplay, this is going to sell me on a PS5. Like This is going to be why I buy a PS5, because I like co-op games and I want to play them with my friends. So,
if it ends up being the reason why, side note on the PS5, Insomniac and PlayStation are making a new limited edition,
Spider-Man
limited
2
edition
one?
console, for Spider-Man 2 that's supposed to have like the typical like spider suit design, and then like the black
Ooh.
goopy stuff kind of going over it.
The goopy stuff. You mean the symbiote?
Goopies.
Jesus.
Yeah, the symbiote. Yeah.
Do you even nerd, bro? What the fuck?
No, I don't really nerd that much anymore.
He says in 4090.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that sounds really cool because I did actually really like the design of the PS4, the Spider-Man PS4 that they did. I would not mind seeing like a symbiote styled one. That would be really cool. So PS5 might be on my list for that. One thing that I do really like about Helldivers that looks really cool, when you have heavy weaponry like that, I don't know if you saw it in the trailer, but you actually have to have somebody stand there and reload your rocket launcher. So like one guy has the rocket, the other guy has the armor. Or the ammo. So like he fires, guy pulls it, throws it in the tube, and you can fire again. That looks like a really cool mechanic to like force you to team up and work together. So that looks really cool.
It's also pretty realistic too.
Yeah,
it's not, you're not like gonna... GTA where you can just like lay the homing launcher down and then just drop a new one in.
Right. So it looks great. I'm hoping for a lot of customization. They did confirm that they're bringing back armor types, so you can be tanky by wearing heavy armor. You can be light and mobile by wearing light armor. So there is going to be some customization there, which will be cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked for it. It's going to be a great game. I have no doubt. The first one was fantastic. It's still fantastic to this day. If you like twin stick, top down kind of isometric shooters, really, really solid game. So
I to kind of go back to that. I do like isometric shooters like that. It just really depends.
Sure.
Like I showed you Midnight Fight Express.
Right.
That one was for sure up my alley. It definitely felt like top-down John Wick simulator type. But it didn't take itself seriously like at all, which was also really great.
Yeah.
That type of stuff I really enjoy. It's just like locked position camera stuff, like the old school Diablo games where you had two positions, really close, kind of far, really far. Like that kind of throws me off, and it doesn't scale to like the situation you're in. Whereas Midnight Fight Express and even the new Diablo 4, depending on what's happening, the camera will either zoom in or zoom out to feel more like interactive and immersed. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, man. And not every game is for every person. You don't need to explain your preferences to me. I understand. Like
it's just an OCD thing. Chalk it up to that.
For sure. That's fine. I want to love RTS games, but I'm horrible at them, so I hate them.
Same.
I would love to love RTS games, but I hate them because I suck at them, so I don't play them. I think that's going to wrap it up tonight. Mike, do you have any final thoughts before we take off and head to our Patreon side?
You guys should go to our Patreon and pay $3 to get access to the extra 15 minutes plus the former library from before I was a part of the podcast. And you can listen to the former editor that I think was Russ.
It was in fact.
And you can compare how awful his edits are to mine.
Damn. You're really selling that Patreon trill. That was a good one.
Yep.
Straight up dissing on the fucking host like that. Those episodes are super out of date, and it's really funny to listen to. I actually need to finish posting all of them. I think I got to episode 14 of 30. I think we had. But the last one I remember posting, we were talking about the quote-unquote upcoming Marvel Spider-Man game. So to give you an idea of how long ago that podcast was. So
wow.
It's a bit of a time capsule. So if you want to listen to those, they're on there. I will be posting the rest of them soon. But our Patreon listeners do get an extra at least 15 minutes of our next content. Sometimes it's a bit longer than that. They also are guaranteed when and if, well, hopefully when, we're able to monetize these episodes and make some money off of ad revenue. The Patreon side will never hear ads, so I do apologize, but in the future, guys, know that if enough of you are listening that we can monetize to help reduce the cost of running this podcast, we will be doing that. So there will be ads in the future if we can make it happen and make it monetizable, and Patreons don't have to listen to those. So head over there. Patreon.com/coindroppod is our Patreon. So thanks again for joining us. Mike, as always, it's a pleasure having you here. Let's head over to the Patreon side. And for those of you who are watching or listening, we will be back in about 45 minutes to do our post-show, where we're going to play some Sneaky Snakes again and play some Vampire Masquerade Blood Hunt. So we'll be back in about 45 streaming for that. Have a great night, everyone.
It's $3.
It's $3. This man's just like, it's $3. Fucking throw it in there, man. It's less than a fucking coffee nowadays, and it's monthly. Come on. It's $3.